Hey, what's up everybody? So in this video, I want to talk about Snapchat. And I bring that up because I've been thinking a lot about how I spend my time and my energy and attention lately. And I've been trying to evaluate what are areas in my life that really aren't productive and really aren't benefiting my life. And as I do that, I look at Snapchat and that fits in the category of one of those areas that it's just really not benefiting my life. It's one of those social media apps that I think does more harm than it does good, at least for me and where I'm at in my life. And that's really the point of this whole video is I want to list out what I see as some of the pros of Snapchat, and then I also want to list out the list of cons or things that I think are bad about having Snapchat. So I'm not going to deny that there are some good parts about having Snapchat, right? You know, it keeps you in contact with your friends that maybe you haven't seen in months or even years. It makes it really easy to open up a channel of communication with someone that you don't normally see. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's nice to have communication channels with people that you may not necessarily always see, or just people that you've kind of grown apart from. I also think from a dating perspective, Snapchat can be beneficial in areas. And I say that because when you go out with a group of friends on a Saturday night, it's really easy to send out a mass Snapchat to a bunch of girls, or if you're a girl, to a bunch of guys. And it can make it a lot easier to meet up with one another or socialize and just link up with different people when you're in these types of social situations. I would say those are probably the two main benefits of having the app. However, I think there's a much longer list of disadvantages, and that's what I got on the Notes app on my phone here. So to summarize what I see as some of the disadvantages to having Snapchat and ultimately why I've decided to delete it is, one is it's very distracting. I notice myself when I'm working, especially considering that I work from home a lot of times, I notice myself just randomly checking Snapchat. I won't be having a conversation with anybody on Snapchat. I'll just randomly pick it up and check it just for the sake of doing something or because I'm bored. And the more I do that, or I guess the more I become aware of me doing that, I realize how distracting and how much of a waste that is, especially when you consider how low quality a lot of the content on the app is. You know, anybody that's posting Snapchat stories on a day-to-day basis, it's typically useless content. It's people taking pictures of their dogs. It's people taking pictures of their food. It's people taking selfies of themselves. It's just a lot of really stupid content that doesn't add any value to your life. And the more I notice myself checking the app just randomly throughout the day, the more I realize how much time and attention I'm wasting. And then it makes it hard to get back to the task that you're actually supposed to be focusing on. And it's a distraction that isn't needed in your life. The second one is it's really easy to make a fool of yourself on Snapchat. And I say that thinking of when I go out to the bars, when I go out drinking with people, or basically just when you're drunk, it's really easy to fire off Snapchats to people and say things or do things that you wouldn't normally do. And that can quickly come back around and bite you in the ass. I think anybody who has Snapchat and has been drunk has probably experienced this at least to some degree. It's just a temptation or something that I don't need in my life anymore. And I think it also encourages hookup culture, which for some people, maybe that's what you're looking for. You're looking for hookups. But for me and where I'm at in my life, I just don't really see the purpose of it anymore. And I don't need that temptation in front of me. And this goes for not only single people, but people in relationships as well. It makes it really easy to cheat. It makes it really easy to seek validation in other areas. You know, if you're in a relationship with someone and the relationship gets kind of stale, it's really easy to go looking for validation from other people if you're not getting it from your partner. It's really easy to send out a couple Snapchats and just send out some feelers to see if anybody else is interested. It's really easy to get Snapchats from people that you may not necessarily want or may not necessarily be good for you and your relationship. And I think these are all things to consider. I don't think it's worth it. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why so many people struggle with relationships and finding people today, and healthy relationships at that, is because there's so many opportunities to cheat because of things like Snapchat. It also encourages low quality conversations. Like I said, the majority of the conversations or the content on Snapchat is you taking selfies of yourself and sending it to someone, or you taking a picture of your lunch and sending it to someone. It's very low quality conversations that really aren't adding to your life. And for me, I don't need them anymore. If someone wants to get a hold of me and talk to me and actually have a productive conversation, we can talk on the phone, we can text, we can meet up for coffee. People that actually matter to me in my life, they have other ways to communicate and get in contact with me. Snapchat, if that's the only way you're in contact with someone, it's probably not someone that's very important to you in your life. It also encourages narcissism, like the majority of social media apps today. The whole point of the app is to take pictures of yourself and send it to people. That in and of itself is a very narcissistic thing to do, especially when it's taking selfies of yourself every day and sending it to people and looking for validation. It's just, I don't see the purpose in that anymore. I don't want to feed into that ego, even if it is of myself, even if it's my own ego. I see the downsides of it more so than I see the benefits of it. See what else we got here. Another really important one is it takes you out of the present moment. So I was at a wedding just this past weekend. I was in the wedding actually. It was a guy that I'm really good friends with, and multiple times throughout the night, I noticed myself taking out my phone, feeling the urge to Snapchat something, to take a Snapchat and send it to someone that isn't even at the wedding, or I'm not even going to see at the wedding. It's someone who has no correlation with the wedding. I'm just sending it just for validation. And having that temptation and that urge in front of you takes you out of the moment. And the older I get, the more I really realize how important certain moments are. Being at someone's wedding, when you're on vacation with your family or something. To me, I think it's way more important now to be present in the moment, as opposed to feeling like I need to take a bunch of Snapchats and show off to everybody how good of a time I'm having. I also think, to a degree, the channel of communication with Snapchat and just how it's designed, it creates a kind of toxic form of communication. And I say that because when you send someone a Snapchat, there's that little arrow that shows whether or not they opened it or didn't open it. If you send someone a Snapchat that maybe you're interested in, or someone that you're even dating and you're in a relationship with, and they don't respond, they open it and don't respond, it's really easy to start playing mind games and thinking to yourself, well, oh, they're not interested, or now I have to reciprocate and I need to not respond to one of their Snapchats. And it just opens up this kind of toxic form of communication. And I think for anyone who's fresh out of a relationship, having your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend on Snapchat is probably one of the worst things you can do, because of just that. Because one, you're going to feel the need to start posting more on Snapchat, and then you're going to be looking at who's viewing your story and seeing if they're looking at it. And you're going to feel the urge to Snapchat them from time to time and see if they're still interested, or see if they're still thinking about you. It just opens up a very toxic form of communication. And the more I think about it, any future person I date, I don't really think it's going to be beneficial for me to be Snapchatting them back and forth every day. I think if we want to talk to each other or see each other, we can call each other, or we can FaceTime, or we can text, or we can meet up and make plans. I don't think Snapchat needs to be a form of communication in order to maintain a healthy relationship. If anything, I think it's going to do the opposite. So that actually wraps up my list. Those are all the things that I've just been thinking about lately. I'm at a point in my life where I just need to be a lot more conscious and aware of where I'm putting my time, where I'm putting my energy, what things I'm feeding into and investing into, and what things I should not invest into. And I just realized that Snapchat is one of those social media apps, like many others, that it's just more of a waste than I think it is beneficial to my life. I can see the benefit of staying in contact with certain people, and I'm probably going to be out of the loop to some degree with some of my friends. I'm in a couple different Snapchat group chats, and I realize that I'm just going to be out of the loop. I'm not going to know what's going on in those group chats. But at the same time, if people want to actually get in contact with me and talk to me, they can text me, they can call me. The relationships that really matter, I think, it's not going to have any impact on them, because if Snapchat's the only way you're communicating with those people, it's probably not that important of a relationship to begin with. So those are just my thoughts around the app. These social media apps, they can be beneficial in areas and when managed correctly, but I think we also have to remember that there's a very negative, dark, addicting side to these apps as well. And the people that make these apps, they make them to be as addicting as possible. They make them to keep you on their platform as much as possible. They don't care about you and your goals and your priorities for life. They care about keeping you on their platform because it puts money in their pockets. So just something to keep in mind. Maybe a couple weeks from now, I'll do an update video to talk about how this experience has been, how it's been deleting Snapchat and being kind of off the grid. And whether or not it's something that I plan to do permanently. I'm not going to delete my account necessarily. I'm just going to delete the app for now and see how that goes. But I have a feeling that once I kind of rip the Band-Aid off and get past the initial week or 2 weeks of not having it, I think I'm going to realize that it's actually very beneficial to me. So let me know what you guys think, whether or not you have any additional points or pros or cons to the app. Or any other apps, or if you just have any other additional random thoughts about social media or dating or self-improvement, whatever it may be. I'm an open book, and I always like hearing feedback from you guys. If you guys have any video topics you want me to touch on in a future video, fill out the form down in the description below. And that's all I got. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.